This is part 2 of the card flip tutorial, and in part 1 we created this basic sort of interface part of the game board, and we made some of these pretty basic graphics and gave them some sample code so that we can do a little bit of this, mouse over and mouse click type stuff. And it is time for us to hit that card, and that's going to take a little bit of time. So that's what I think we're going to launch into right now. I'm still in the same file, card flip tutorial, and so I'm going to come up, I think just above the coins layer, and I'm going to go at this card. So I'm going to be using the rectangle tool. I'm going to set my stroke at actually 4 because I want this to be rather cartoony, maybe even bumping it up to 5. And I need quite a good curvature, so I'm gonna try 35, and I'm gonna see what that does. Drag this out in that space, and that actually might be a little bit too much. So yeah, we'll try 25. And I can always adjust this, and I think that's what I am going to do. I'm going to shape this so that it fits relatively nicely inside this card region, card space. It's a pretty important piece of the game, so it's going to take a bit of time to do this. Now, maybe if you were working in Photoshop or some other thing where you could get some really nice textures easily placed, that would be good. All right, let's see what that looks like in full. All right, that's something like that is what my card. It's not necessarily positioned exactly where I'd have it, but I'm relatively happy with that. All right, so I'm going to be creating something like this, and it's not going to look exactly the same. And let's just give it a shot anyhow and see how she goes. Okay, so let me just double check in whether or not I really want my stroke to be that big. And try see what it looks like at 3. And that's probably fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and select it, and I'm going to call it card. There will be multiple cards, but I'm going to call this card right in that position. I'm going to come inside here, and okay. Now, I think what I'll be doing is creating this whole thing, all the graphics, and then converting it to another symbol and trying to do the animation. So let's lock this layer up, and then let's just do it. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the fill, and I'm just going to use the stroke. Here I'm going to switch back to the 0 corner radius, and I'm going to come down to 2, and I'm just going to create something. All right, something inside here. So something like this, and then I'm going to line it, see if I like where it is. Yeah, that looks okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste it in, and I can actually move a little bit closer than that. Like this. Okay, I want this to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to come in like that. Just a tiny bit more on the sides. No, maybe not. Yeah. Okay, something like that. Now I'm going to fill this with red. I don't quite remember what red I used. I'm going to try going with that. delete that outer stroke. I think I'll take that stroke and just actually move it in and away from the red. Yeah, and we'll start manipulating this one. You know, I'm just going to create any kind of design. It's not going to be exactly the same as my other one, but I'll do some of the same kind of techniques. So we'll do something like that. I'm going to change to that red stroke color. So it's going to look something like that. And I'm going to grab it again. Edit, copy, and paste in place. And bring it in some more. Even it out. Okay. And do that again. Okay. I'm going to fill that space in with red. And I may get rid of that outer stroke there. And I think I'll take this inner one and pull it away again. I think maybe at this point I would get into the inner design stuff. See how crazy that looks compared to the original one there. Yeah, okay, well, it's definitely going to be different. I take it back. I think what I'll do is, there's a shape there, isn't it? Well, that's okay. I can use that. Okay. Let's paste that in place and use this for my center. Oops. My centerpiece, something like that. And I will put some designs in here. I'll do this sort of checkerboard thing on the outside, and I'll do something else. I'll do something else on the inside a little bit more. So I'm going to put the checkered pattern in there. So I'm just going to come up to another layer, and we'll get rid of that. I'm going to zoom in quite a bit more and just draw a pretty small square. And we'll do that. I'm going to do it a couple of times, or maybe 3. And take it again, copy, edit, paste in place. Down 1 and over 1. Yeah, that's good enough like that. Okay, I'm going to take that whole thing, and I'm just going to start copying and pasting it. So it takes a little while, but I'll get it to fill in the whole thing. I'll be using some masking as well on this. All right. Let's see if I can just grab maybe this much of it. Okay, let's see if that fits. Yeah, it does fit, doesn't it? Pretty close. And actually, I want to leave a small bit of white on the edge. So let me compress this a tiny bit and see if I've done what I want it to do. Something like that. Okay, so let me now go again and work downwards. Like that. And grab the whole thing. And I'm going to go right through this space anyhow, because I'm going to mask that. Copy, edit, Paste in place. I'm going to go all the way down the page now. Yep. Just very repetitive. Well, it shouldn't take too long to do the middle part anyhow. Let's paste in place one more time and bring it down. Okay. Yeah, okay, like that. Now, I said I was going to be masking, and I will, but what I might do, though, at first, though, is I might just try to bring this up and see how weird the squares get if I do this. And just leave it like that. It's not actually that bad. And so what I think I'll do is, I'll call these squares. And what I'll do is hide that. I'm going to put some white in this spot here. Yeah. I'm going to try to put some white in this spot here. Right there. There. So I'm going to grab that now. I'll just copy it. And I'm going to come above the square layer. I'm going to paste that in, and I'm going to call this a mask. And I'm going to reveal that again and lock that. And I'm going to right-click on this layer and go mask. And it will put it only where the mask is, which is this area. And so this is what we're getting so far. And I'll go back later and I'll decide if I like this stroke or not. So far so good. Let me just get a sense of okay. I'll do some thick lines, some thin lines, and that kind of thing. So I've got this still, and that is okay. I'm working down on that lower level again. That's okay. Something like that. And then I'll do some thin ones to give it some interest. So I'm actually going to throw a stroke on here. And then I'm going to grab it. I'm going to make it 1 now. And now I'm just going to shrink that in. So we have sort of multiple levels of detail. We're getting that. I'll do another one. We'll come in a different distance this time. And then we'll get set for the center. Okay, something like that. And then we'll do another bit of a thick one. In fact, I might even base it off this one, and I'm going to adjust this spacing as well. I'll come up a tiny bit more. Actually, still more. Like that. Okay, I'm going to use this as my thick line. You'll see what I'm doing in just a second. What have I done? I don't want it too thick, but I want it thick enough. Something like that, actually. I'm going to fill this part with red. Right there. And then I think I'll do my inner pattern right here. Right inside this. Now, before I do that, I am actually going to fill this with white. And I'll make sure that all these areas are filled with white. I will be using this as a mask eventually. But I'm going to come up to another layer. And I just want a design that will look okay inside there. And here I've got some sort of diamond and a circle, so I think I may try to do something like that. All right, so let's just go ahead and do something like that. So I'll use red. I'll get rid of the stroke. Make it not too big. I'll take that and I'll rotate it to make it into a bit of a diamond. And actually, I think I will put a stroke on that, but I'm going to move that stroke out. A bit more than that, so I see a little bit of white space in between it. Something like that. Okay, I like that. And we'll also do a circle like that. And I'll do the same thing with the stroke. Let me come on even closer than that. Let's see what that's too much. That's fine. Except that's a bit big. So what I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to take that. I'm going to drop one here. Now I'm not going to be too exact. This is going to be pretty darn small. I'm going to put one off to the side. Something like that. And I think I will use that, but I'll make it smaller. I'll use that as my main graphic for the middle. Even more. Yeah, that's two, eh? That's good enough. Okay, so I'm just going to start dragging these out, actually. Yeah. Just like that. Make it so that it fits all the way across. And then I can make them smaller after. Okay, so, something like that. And then take the whole thing and do it downwards. That's good enough. Just keep it going until we fill it in. Excuse me. Okay, good. Now let's zoom out a bit. And let's position this a bit more the way we think we might want it, sort of equal above and below. And zoom out even more. And I just want to compress it and see if I can get a tiny bit of white space to show. And obviously I have to come back in. Now if I get it there, I move it up. I'm sure I lose it up at the top, so I'll do it a bit more. I should be able to get a bit there. That's too much down there. A bit there and a bit there. Let's try the sides as well. Yeah, a little bit too much. Maybe a bit more. Let's see what that looks like from a distance. Weird. All right. I'm not quite done because I was thinking. Let me just cut to another layer and try this. I was thinking of doubling it, something like. Oh, that could be too crazy, eh? That's too crazy. Just out of curiosity, if I did that. I was also thinking of flipping it. I'm not sure if that would actually just do the same thing, but in reverse. Oh, that might be what I want there. All right, I think I'll go for something like that. So I'm gonna paste this on and then I'm gonna stretch everything out so it fills. Okay. So trial and error until you get something you really do like. Yeah, I'm just gonna stretch it and we'll mask it off. Yeah, it's a bit odd. It is definitely a bit odd. Okay, well, let's just go with it for the time being. So let's come back to here and let's grab that sort of inner region. And is there anything on that layer? No. Okay, so that's the layer I'm going to use. Edit, paste in place. I'm going to call this mask. Lock it and choose mask. And it's in there. I haven't labeled that other layer, but there's my card. There is my card. And yeah, that's what I'm going to go with for the time being. So that's what the front of my card would look like. Wow, how different does it look compared to that one? Okay, I kind of would like to stretch this if I could, but I'm not certain that I can at this point. I probably could if I grabbed everything. Sure I could. I'm sure I could. And let's see what happens if I do this. Like that. I do this. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, all right. Close enough for a card. Okay. Okay, so this is the front of the card. And what we're going to be doing is I can create the back of the card anytime. I'm going to come up and insert a new symbol. And for the moment, I'm just going to call it card like that. And I think I'm going to take this card and drop it in there and center it. that work? Where is it there? Okay, now let me get rid of this, hide that, and let me come up to this layer and pull in card. Good, okay, because this is what I wanted to have. If I go in further, I get to all those layers. I want to have all this with all the layers stacked in. All right, now I'm actually going to call this card 1, and I'm going to give it an instance name of card 1 down here, and I'm going to call this cards, and I don't need anything on this layer at the time. All right, so this is what I'm going to be working on. Now, I'm going to go into this symbol, and I've got this part right here. And I'm going to call this, duplicate symbol, card 1 front. Okay, I'll call the layer card. And we're going to get ready to do some animating, or try to do some animating. Actions. Stop. Okay, now, what we want to do is I also want to create the back of this card. So this is card 1 front, so I'm just going to drag one out for the moment and put it over here. And I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to call this card 1 back. I'm going to come into it, and I can adjust all this stuff now, and it really doesn't matter. In fact, I probably don't need any of it. You know, you can probably delete all of that stuff and come back to here, and this is where we're going to do the back of the card. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to write the card number. Oh, I guess I don't have one visible, and a symbol. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to call this 1. It's going to be like this, and just got to decide on a particular size and font, and I'm going to put that roughly there. And I think I'll wait till I do the symbol, and then we'll flip them. So I got some text in there, so we can easily change that. And how about for this, we just, I'll draw to the best of my ability. Oh, this won't be too tough, will it? How about that? Diamonds. Instead of hearts, we'll do diamonds. Now that looks a little small. Oh. I'm going to try the Verdana font. I think that might be the better choice for this. Yeah, it just looks a little bit better. This is my text. There's my symbol. And for now, I think I'm going to put that on the same layer. And this is really number and symbol. Okay, like card number and symbol. Let's just get this to a position that we want it. Something like that, let's say. And then I can take this and I can move it down like that. So there we go. I'm developing my card. Okay, I'll keep that, and here I will do my text. And this is where we're going to write the first sample question. Okay, so let's use block for this, and I'll start with 20. And I'll do the question up here. And all right, this is just time to fake a question. The control center of the cell is the... Okay, we'll start off like that. I like to italicize my question. I'll make it a bit smaller. See how that is. Okay, I need a bit. Let's try this. Grab this, pull it out here. So this is where our answers would go. And let's try just some sample answers. I'll put ribosome. I'll put nucleus as C. D, I'll put mitochondrion. Okay, that's pretty good text size for answers in case they get a little bit bigger. Let's just move this down. This may go another line, a question, so I want to give enough room. This all can, of course, be adjusted at another time. That's pretty good right there for the back of my card. Okay, cool. So for now, I've got the front and the back in the library, so I think I can safely get rid of that for now. And I'm going to come back to the actual animation. And what I want to do is I want to flip this card, and it's going to take a little bit of experimenting. I'm going to put a keyframe here, and I've got my registration point right in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down quite a bit, equally, right in the middle there, quite a bit, and even more than that, like that. All right, and then I'm going to grab this keyframe, I'm going to bring it over, and at that point I'm going to say modify, transform, flip horizontal. Now, there's something I should have done before that. Let me back up a little bit before I do that. Let me do something else. Another thing that I like to do, I want to get that even closer. All right? Hang on. Let me get that. Second, I'm having some difficulties here. There we go. Okay. Another thing that I like to do is leave it there. At that point, I'm going to just take this and skew it up like that. Skew it up like that. And then I am going to bump it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 6. All right. Then I'm going to take this, copy it over, modify, transform, flip horizontal. All right. It's at this point that image is going to switch to the back. We're going to start seeing the back of that coming through. And then I'm going to take this frame and I'm going to copy it over to 10. And I'm going to switch this to the back. All right, and now I'm going to try to motion tween this, motion tween this, and have a look. Let's have a look at what it does. It's up, squeezes, flips backwards. Now, what I often find is I have to adjust how high up it goes here. Now I see that it's overlapping the check button, but that may be just fine. So we're going to give this a try. This may take a little bit of finessing. I'm going to drag the stop out to here, and we are going to test this and see what we have to do to fix it. And the way I'm going to do that is, and I realize I didn't write the flip now. I can add that in a bit. I'm just going to try this on press. This stop, go to and play 2. Okay, so there's some funny stuff going on here. Okay. Let's come back in and look at it. Going up, up. I think what it is that I actually have to flip this horizontal, even though I know it's going to change this. Let me check that. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Okay, so hang on. What I do now is I go in to my card, and I think I can probably do it all at once. Flip that horizontally. Done. Okay, let's check it out. There's more that has to be done. It's getting there. What has to be done is the card has to jump up more. And it's got to, okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if it looks a little better. Let's see if it jumps. Not bad. Okay, now another thing you can do is you can put a shadow underneath it. At the end, let me see if I did that in my cards. Yeah, I did. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. It'll look a little bit better. I'll just do it like this. I'll grab the card. I'll come down here, paste in place. Actually, I'm going to hide that. I'm going to break it apart. And I am going to go shape lines to fills. And fill it with black. Okay, good. Make it 50%. And now, let's make sure we can see stuff. I don't want too much. Card is pretty thin. Maybe one more and one more. How's that? I'm going to drag this over to the last frame as well, but clear the keyframe there. It's too hard to animate the shadow for me anyhow. Let's see if I can come down. 1, 2, and let's bring this one down 1, 2. See what that looks like. It's not too bad. I'll obviously have to adjust the position of the card. This is the shadow. Okay, now, so let's do that. Let's just get this a little bit nicer positioned. We can change the size of it and everything. How's the size? The size isn't bad. Let's have a look at it again. Well, that is not too bad. I like it. Yeah, that's a cute little card. They're very rounded cards, right? So what I'll do is I'll come back in here and I'm going just into the front of the card here. So go in there and I'll just come up to the top and go for white with a nice red stroke, a circle, I'll do something like this, try to center it, okay, zoom in, and what I'd actually like to do is bring this stroke in, so there's a little bit of white space, something like that, and then I'm going to type on top of this in, I guess, red, and we'll say click to flip. And it is quite small, and I'll adjust the line spacing. I'll try -4. Well, that might be good. Let's see if I can get this to fit. That's actually a little bit too tight, so we'll go -3. Let's have a look at that. Okay, and we're just going to get the positioning correct. Yeah, it's coming along. Okay, not too bad. All right, something like that. Okay, so we got some text. We're not going to have to change the front of the card unless we want to. In fact, actually, I take it back. I will actually try to make this larger, and then see what that looks like. You know, maybe that is a little bit better. And just like that, so it's very obvious. Click to flip. Okay, I'm not worrying about all those layers. And we now have a card that can flip. And the other thing that I can do with this is I can take this, I can come up to the props layer, I'm just drag it over there. I'm going to shrink this down quite a bit. Now before I do anything, I'm going to change this from, now what can I do here? Card 1, card is different. We don't need card anymore. Get rid of that. I'm now going to duplicate this and just call it card. Okay, and I go in here and I am going to get rid of all these animation things. I just want this as a static. Get rid of the actions layer. I'll keep the shadow. I just want to have a look at the card, and everything else can stay. That's fine. All right, and I can now adjust the size of this even more. There you go. And this can be used as a little prop. That kind of thing. You know, for just to have something else to look at later on. Okay, I've still got some code on there, I see. Something that you got to watch out for. A lot of this code will be changed very soon. There'll be a lot more to it. So we'll get rid of all that code, and then these just become props like the dice. In fact, let's go one step further. And let's take one of these coins. drag it up here. And let me see if I remember my shortcut key. Shift on up. No, I don't. Doesn't matter. We'll do it this way. Oh, sorry. It was on the wrong layer. I was trying to bring it to the top. All right, we're going to bring that in there. Now, those may be a little bit big. And this one, I want to make sure that I don't overwrite a symbol. So I got coin, and that's it. And that's fine. And what we can do is just call this something different, coin prop or something like that. And I'll make sure that there's no code on it. I'll come in here. No animation or anything like that, so that's fine. I do think that these coins are a little bit too big, so I think I'm going to reduce these all. Modify, transform. I think we're going to go to 90 for this one and for all of these ones. There we go. So everything's going to be the same. We got these. Let's lock everything up. Oops. Lock everything up. Save it. And have a look at what we got so far. It's looking pretty cool. We got our card to flip, so we're really moving along. Thank you for watching.